All right, I wanted to go over the Texas school shooting at Robb Elementary and lessons we can learn from this shooting. I have waited a little while for things to calm down. It's more information to come to light, and I know all the information that we're seeking still isn't there, and it'll probably be months if we ever find out all the truth of what happened that day. So the first thing I want to go over is what we know about the shooter. We know he's 18 years old, so he had no business at that elementary school. Um, we don't know if he knew somebody there. We don't know what was going on. As far as that's concerned, did he go to that school? Was he picked on at that school? We know he was picked on and bullied growing up some way, somehow, for being different. I did see reports where he wore like eyeliner and stuff like that. However, I didn't see, what type, because gothic people, emo people, transgender people, they all wear eyeliner and all that. So I don't know um, what kind of group he was trying to fit in with. Um, the one thing I have to say about that, if you're going to be different, especially if you're going to try to stand out from the crowd, no matter what your reason is, whether it's you want attention, whether you believe you were born that way, whether I don't care what it is. If you're going to be different from the crowd that you're around, and especially try to stand out or stand out and be different, you're going to get picked on. You're going to have to grow some thick skin. Especially in school, people pick on people. People pick on people outside of school. I've worked in plants. People pick on people. I've worked other places. People pick on people. They make fun of people. They haggle people. Most of it's in good fun, I guess, what they consider good fun, but a lot of it gets taken too far, and a lot of people don't like it. Um, I know in school you get bullied and stuff like that. There's no need to get angry about it, especially just being picked on. Now, being actually bullied, you need to fight back, and I'll go over that here in a little bit. But being picked on, usually if somebody comes up and says, "Oh, well, that shirt's ugly, you're ugly," stuff like that, there's deeper problems within the person saying that, and you need to realize that. My advice to that type of situation, if they come up and they're like, "Oh, that shirt's ugly," say, just kind of look at your shirt and say, "Oh, really? Well, I like your shirt. Your shirt's nice." Typically, if you compliment them, the reason they are picking on you, or what we call bullying, I don't call that bullying, it's picking on somebody. Um, they have deeper issues and they're looking for attention. And if you show them that attention and tell them they have a nice shirt, or they have nice shoes, or they have nice pants, or you like their haircut, or whatever, um, you like, if you can't go that route, go a route and say, well, you do really well in English, don't you? Wow, that's great. I wish I was as good as you. Give them a compliment. Give them some. It's what we call verbal judo. Um, in the realm of trying to avoid situations, that's one of them. So if somebody comes at you harshly, you compliment them back, and typically, especially in that type of environment, it will offset that, and usually they'll quit picking on you. It may take two or three times for you to compliment them, and they understand that you're just going to give them a compliment. But typically they'll quit. And then if you see them later on in the day, just say, "Hey, how you doing? I like your shirt," or the next day or whatever. So there's ways as far as being. I know a lot of people call that being bullied. I don't really consider that being bullied. They're not pushing you, shoving you, hitting you. Because in all honesty, words, the whole saying that we had was sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt you. You need to grow some thick skin and get over it. Because people are going to say stuff that you don't agree with. People are going to say stuff about you that you don't agree with or don't appreciate. When you're an adult, much less when you're a teenager. So as far as, especially if you're going to stand out and be different, you need to grow some thick skin. All right. So what we know about his side of things, or his side of the event, basically. Again, he was 18. We know he shot his grandmother and then went to the school. There are reports that say he actually shot his rifle for up to 12 minutes across the street, and nobody responded to it. Um, I don't know the area he was in. I have actually traveled Texas quite a bit. I've done some jobs in Texas. Um, I don't know that area, but I do know Texas is a big spread out state. And most of the towns and stuff are kind of like where I live. It's more country, um, rural, not city. And where I am at, if I hear gunshots, which I do all the time, I don't think twice about it. Oh, so and so shooting his gun, because they do all the time. I'm out here in the county, and people shoot their guns. I live in South Carolina, and we shoot guns. I have my own private indoor shooting range in my backyard. So we do a lot of shooting. So that doesn't necessarily wouldn't necessarily bother me. I wouldn't think anything about that. I don't think. However, maybe across from the school, even there's a school right up the road, a couple miles up the road from where I live. I do believe if guns start going off across the road, something would be triggered. Um, One, I do know there's an on-duty resource officer there, and he would probably call dispatch in and have them and at least investigate it. And he would also probably lock our school down. But as far as just the shooting, I don't know. So I'm not going to go deep into that. All right, after all that happened, from what we understand, he made his way to the school through an unlocked door and then proceeded in to kill the innocent children and I believe two adults, two teachers. Um, Lock your schools down. There is no excuse for that door being open and unlocked. Lock them down. Get them locked down. Don't prop one open. Don't do something crazy. Get the stuff locked down. These are kids we're protecting. This isn't, uh, they're not adults in there. This isn't college. This is an elementary school. Lock the doors down. Have people going around. I'm going to go over security here in a minute. Have them going around, checking the doors. Get them locked down. There's no excuse for that. There's no excuse for him going in and shooting the place up either. That was uncalled for. The As far as today, it's probably one of the most evil crimes that can be committed. What he did. Um, uh, but there's also no excuse. We've also got to take action on our side because we know stuff happens like that. People do evil stuff, so we've got to take action to stop that evil. Lock those doors down. All right, so I do have a few questions about some of the stuff about him. Um, was the gun his? I've heard it was. He purchased it illegally, and that's fine. Um, there's not much you're going to do with the laws to try to stop all of this. We're going to add another gun law to bump it up to 21. He would have just used a different gun. He would have used a different route. And in all honesty, if I was going to go do some kind of heinous crime like that, I probably wouldn't use a gun anyway. A gun is not the best way. There are other ways to do it. Um, a law trying to prevent something, it's a piece of paper. It doesn't work. So for those of you like, oh, we need more strict gun laws, stop. Just stop. That is ignorance at best. Stop. Um, they don't work. They haven't worked. So stop. Did he have anger problems? I would like to know that. And did he have any other problems? Mental problems, stuff like that. I would like to know that as well. Because I do believe that the parents have a responsibility, or people that know him that have a responsibility if he did have anger, especially some kind of mental problem. We have the laws on the books now that you turn that in, and then he wouldn't be able to purchase a gun. Now, granted, he would just go get it some other way. He would buy it off the street. It's very easy to buy a gun off the street. That is not hard at all. Most criminals are going to buy it off the street. Some will try to go to the store and then they'll get denied. Then they'll go buy it off the street. You're never going to regulate your way around evil. It's not going to happen. It hasn't happened. There's so much evil. I am a Christian. I believe in the Bible. And if we can just go back to biblical times, and if you read the Bible, there's so much evil going on from the beginning of time. Um, you're never going to stop it. And even the Bible talks about it. It's always going to be there. But we can, um, do what we got to do you're never going to stop the action of evil starting, but we can do stuff to stop it in the action, if that makes sense. All right. So, you're never going to stop somebody planning an evil attack, but you may, or you can, put security measures in place to stop them at the attack. So people are always going to try to start evil, but that good guy with a gun can stop them when they start their evil, is basically what I'm trying to say. All right, so things I know personally about his side of life. I was bullied. I was picked on and bullied. As a kid, I was small. I graduated high school right at about 130 pounds, 5'8". Or actually, I'm 5'7 3/4". That's what I've been all my life. I hit 5'7 3/4. Haven't grew anymore. I'm about 160 now, so I'm about 30 pounds heavier now. But back then, 130 pounds, 5'7 3/4", I was small. I got picked on. I've been small all through school. And I was picked on until I started standing up for myself. I was, and I still am, a fair introvert. I kind of keep to myself. I'm kind of quiet. I listen to people. I watch. Um, those of you that have all this energy and just talk, 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 oh man, you wear me out. I don't mind listening to a good conversation, but after a while, it's just like, all right, I'm done with this. My mind's got to chill. So I'm still a fair introvert. I did have anger issues, and was very high strung growing up. And part of that could have been with the introverted self because I was so reserved. I had to have an outlet to get stuff out. So my parents put me in martial arts, which helped a lot. The martial arts really did help a lot. Um, it teaches you discipline, it teaches you how to defend yourself and never to start the fight, which is good. Because I don't believe you should start a fight. I don't believe that, if you're being picked on verbally, try to use verbal judo. Try to counter that verbal with, oh, well, you don't like my shirt? Oh, well, I like your shirt. It's nice. That's a nice shirt you got there. Or whatever. Just choose something. It just, or hey, I like your accent, or whatever. Whatever the case may be. Just give them compliments at that point. No, I wasn't ever good at that. I usually just spat back with whatever. There was a few times that I can remember a few fights that I got in due to being bullied. Basically, I had several. I had this one guy that just kept picking on me. I believe it was the 6th grade. He kept picking on me and picking on me and picking on me and picking on me. One day he come behind me, grabbed me behind the throat, was like choking me out. So I flipped him over me. I'd started taking martial arts by then, and I'd learned a little bit. I wasn't a master by any means, in the 6th grade or anything. But so I flipped him over my back or over my shoulder, and we got into it. And I did not win that fight. I did not at all. He was bigger than me. He didn't like beat me to a pulp or anything like that, but I didn't want to fight him anymore. But after that was done, he respected me and he didn't pick on me anymore. He left me alone. In fact, he became my friend. He come the next day. He said, "Hey man, how's it going?" And that was it. Throughout the rest of the school, the time we were in school together, and that was the rest of middle school. And then I think he went to a different high school. So I stood up to him. He went away as a bully. There was a kid I remember in elementary school that picked on me. And he would just keep punching me and punching me and punching me. And I never did anything. Finally, I just got tired of it, and he punched me, and I socked him in the nose. He never did it again. He never picked on me after that. There was another guy that I can remember in middle school. He did the same thing. He was picking on me. He was bigger than I was. And unfortunately, most of these guys, I don't know that they had a great family life. In fact, I don't think they did. And yeah, I don't why they picked on me. I don't know. But this guy tried to tackle me, and the way he did it really close to a block wall, and I was able to stay on my feet. I slammed his head into the block wall. Um, he never picked on me after that. He left me alone. He, in fact, come in and he said, "Hey, man, yeah." And most of them did. Most of them were like, "Whatever." They either become friends with me or they respected me. So they left me alone. And then there was this one other guy in high school. This is probably my last one. I was in ninth grade in high school. He kept picking on me. I, I have no idea why. I knew who he was. I didn't really know him, but I did know who he was. Um, and we were at the top of the stairs one day. We had our stairway would go up a certain way, hit a platform, and then go up the other way. I don't know, it was probably 8 or 10 stairs. It wasn't a whole lot, but it was enough. And he just shoved me and grabbed me, so I just grabbed him and I threw him down the stairs. Um, got called to the office after that. I went about my business. I went on to class. I was like, whatever, dude. Kept on going and went to class. I got called out of class to the principal's office, went in there. He was sitting in there. He had went and told on me, and I was like, well, he pushed me and shoved me and pulled me and was trying to start a fight, so I threw him down the stairs. And the principal kind of looked at me and said, "That's true?" He's like, well, yeah. And so then, basically, the principal was like, well, are you going to throw him down the stairs anymore? I said, if he don't push me and shove me, I'm not mess with him at all. I care nothing about it. Um, well, I think he got suspended, and then I got like D Hall or something, detention. Um, After school detention or whatever. And after that, I never really saw him after that. He either walked by me and wouldn't look at me, or just went about, went a different route. I don't know. I don't remember seeing him much after that. So I was left alone, and after that, nobody really picked on me because you got to stand up for yourself. If you are truly being bullied, and I mean pushed, shoved, hit. And I'm not saying not to go to an authority. If you feel the right thing to do to begin with is to go to an authority figure, your parents, your teachers, your principals, guidance count, whoever. Go to somebody, tell them. If nothing's done and the guy's still picking on you or the girl or whoever it is, and they push you or hit you, hit them back. Stop it. Stand up for yourself and fight back. Okay, you get detention. Okay, you get suspension. Okay, whatever. Who cares? You've got to stand up for yourself and fight back, or your life is going to be miserable. Fight back. And I don't mean if they say something mean to you to punch them. I mean that if they punch you, punch them back. If they bite you, punch them. There was a girl in school. This guy kept picking on her and pushing her and shoving her. She took a pencil and put it in his leg. He didn't pick on her and shove her anymore after that. She got a couple weeks worth of suspension, but she was never picked on after that. So stand up for yourself. Most of the time, if you stand up for yourself, they will leave you alone. Just your typical normal bullying, they will leave you alone. And those that are doing the verbal bullying, the picking on you in that way, try verbal judo. Try to say something nice to them. There's more problems to these bullies, and there's more problems to these people than you. They're having their own issues, and you've got to find a way to solve it for you. Sucks that life's like that. That's how it is. All right. All right. So the lessons we can learn now. Of course, everybody's wanting to ban assault rifles. It hasn't worked in the past, and it will not work now. We had a active assault rifle ban under Clinton's AR ban when Columbine was carried out. Didn't work then, won't work now. It's not gonna work. We have a Second Amendment. You ain't taking my guns away from me. I'm sorry, it ain't happening. So just get over that. But there are ways that we can stop this stuff. A lot of it has to do with the raising and the wussification of this country. One of it is, like I said, stand up to your bullies. It's like, oh no, you can't stand up to bullies. You've got to treat. No, punch them in the face if they hit you. If they hit you, you hit them back. If they call you a name, That's when verbal judo kicks in. Oh, I hate your shirt. Your shirt's ugly. Oh, really? Well, I like your shirt. If they punch you, you punch them back. Um, and there's all kind of martial arts out there that you can take to where if they swing at you, you can actually block or dodge that and just push them out of the way and make them look stupid, and they'll probably leave you alone after that. You've got Kupsul Wan, which is a good one I have taken, Aikido, and several others out there that you could do. Jiu-Jitsu, there's a lot. Go take those types of martial arts to where when they swing at you, you dodge or block the punch, you shove them out of the way, and they'll probably leave you alone. Stop with the wussification. Tell your kids to stand up for themselves. Don't start the fight. If it's verbal only, come back with something nice, if possible. Oh, your mama's ugly. Really? You think my mom's ugly? Oh, I think your mom's pretty. Huh. Wow, okay. See if that works. That's verbal judo. That is coming back with something to offset them, to try to make them feel bad about what they said. We know that a good guy with a gun stops a bad guy with a gun. We know this. This has been proven. I've only got 2 examples here, but there's a lot of examples out there, guys. The Texas church shooting that was stopped by a good guy with a gun, that was Jack Wilson. The guy come in, sat down, he had a shotgun, he got up, he shot 2 of the people serving. And then Jack Wilson shot him from across the room and took him out. And there's no telling how many people this guy would have actually shot if Jack Wilson hadn't took him down, because you can see in the video he was actually going toward the preacher. And I'm going to do a separate video on lessons we can learn about that, because it is on video, and I think there's a lot of stuff we can learn from that. I've been trying to let it settle down a little bit too, because I'm going to critique that video and stuff that people really need to do. I think that shooting could have been avoided altogether. I think, yeah. So, and I'll do that later on. Just recently, this is May of 2022. Right after the school shooting, there was another shooting. Man went to a party basically and opened fire with an AR style rifle. And a woman, from what I understand, had a gun in her pocketbook. She pulled out the gun and shot and killed him. And he was the only person that died. So a good guy with a gun stops a bad guy with a gun. And for you, like, oh, well, that doesn't work. People are like, yes, they will. It does work. And I know a lot of you are like, oh, well, these people aren't going to be willing to do that. I guarantee you, if that teacher was in there and had a gun and that gunman come in, she would have shot him. Would she have wanted to? No, of course not. But she would have. She would have protected those kids. So stop with the ignorance, because especially women will do a motherly instinct will kick in, and they will protect those children. So stop. Just stop. We need to fight back. That is what's going to stop this mess. All the other stuff y'all been trying to do. Y'all been trying to, oh, we'll put this law, we'll do this law, we'll be more wussified, and we'll do this. Ain't working. Stop it. Man up or woman up and fight back. That's how you take these people out. When they realize that we're not going to take it anymore, they'll stop, or they'll go somewhere else. They're not going to stop, but they'll go somewhere else. If you want to stop the bad guys, the good guys are going to have to take that action. All right? It's as simply complicated as that. And then I'm going to say that sometimes violence is the answer. What do I mean by that? So your kids need that outlet. They need martial arts, ball games, running, etc. Get them off those video games. Get them off the TV. Get them off the computer. Get them out in the yard. You got these kids, they say, oh, they got ADHD, and this kid, they're probably going to say, oh, he had ADHD, and he had this, and he had that. There was a study done in the UK to where all the kids, like a bunch of the kids, had ADHD. Because none of them were getting out. None of them were exercising. So they took the elementary school and they started exercising 2 30-minute times a day, an hour a day, 30 minutes in the morning, 30 minutes in the afternoon. And I believe it was either 98 or 99% of the ADHD disappeared. There was a true 1 or 2% that actually had ADHD. The rest of them did not. They just weren't getting enough exercise. exercise and eating right will actually, your brain will actually think different. Even if somebody is picking on you, even if somebody is bullying you, and you are exercising, you are acting right, you're not going to take it out on somebody else like it seems this guy did. Um, your mental stability will stabilize greatly. So you need an outlet. Um, we need to start embracing the masculinity instead of running from it, like I just went over. It has taken violence, shooting the shooter to stop him in almost every single case across the country, or it is at least taking the confrontation of violence and the shooter has turned the gun on themselves. So it's taking the confrontation of the action of somebody willing to be violent to stop that shooter. There's a handful of cases that were not that way. In fact, where I worked at, there was actually an active shooter come in. Um, he had problems, obviously, but he come in, he shot a guy. I knew the guy he shot to. I knew him and the guy he shot. Um, so he shot the guy, killed him, and the only thing I can assume the reason why he shot himself before anybody else got there, before the police showed up, was he actually realized, oh crap, what have I done? And he turned it on himself. Um, what he did was not right. It shouldn't have happened. But I want to tell you, there is no definition, no defining stereotype of an active shooter. There's none. This guy was calm, laid back, done his job, always nice to me, never a word out of line. He was a little weird. I'm a little weird to a lot of people. You're a little weird to a lot of people. People think you're weird. I'm sorry, people think you're weird. So yeah, I mean, that's the only exception, and there's not a defining stereotype for the most part. Most of them have been male. That's about it. There have been so across the board with their backgrounds, their races and everything else, that you can't just say, oh, this is going to be your typical active shooter. It's just not there right now, and it probably won't ever be there because something triggers them. Um, so you got to keep your head on that swivel, and we've got to harden our places. All right, before I get into hardening your places and things we can do, I'm going to go over the police response, what we know about it. We know that they waited up to 90 minutes to go in. We know they waited up to an hour and a half to go in. Why? I want to know why. That is a question we all need to know. Why? I know that the guy, the supervisor that called the stand down order, I know he had just been elected to county council. I don't know why his motivation was to wait. I don't get it. He shouldn't have waited. The police should have stormed in, should have found out what was going on, got eyes on the subject. Whether he was locked in a room, whether he was dead, does not matter. You get eyes on that subject. We know that an off-duty Border Patrol agent got a call from his wife. I do believe she was a teacher there. His daughter was a student there. I believe his wife called, so there was an active shooter in the school. He was at a barber shop. He grabbed his barber's shotgun and went to the school. He got his wife out, his daughter out, and a few others, and then he went back in. There's conflicting stories about what happened next, but I believe from what I've been able to piece together, he may have been the one to take the shooter out while the other officers were waiting to go in. Still, I believe other Border Patrol agents might have went in and then confronted with him. So it may have been more than just one person shot him. I don't know. We don't have that as of right now, or I don't anyway. Why did it take that Border Patrol somewhere else to go past all the other police officers and go in the school, and the other Border Patrol agents to go past the police officers to go in the school? Why? I want to know why. Those police officers should have been, the first police officer on scene should have went into that school. Period. Go into that school. All right, so this is the hard part. This is the part that, yeah, it's hard. It's easy to blame the shooter, and yes, it is the shooter's fault. He shouldn't have did it. However, when there's inaction on the side of the police officers, there's going to be blame there too. Um, First and foremost, I want to tell anybody that knows a police officer, is or was a police officer, whether if you're active, I appreciate you. I really do. I appreciate everything you do, and I have nothing but the utmost respect for the job you do. However, if you're not willing to go in first and handle the situation, whether that's disobeying your supervisors, your sergeants, whoever, whatever's in charge of you, telling you to stand down, if you're not willing to go in first and get eyes on this subject, if you're not willing to go in, if you're giving orders, if you're not willing to give orders for them to go in, which one of those categories you fall in, it doesn't matter. If you're not willing to do what it takes to get this shooter taken out, you may need to rethink being a police officer. You need to step down. You need to go somewhere else. If you're too scared to confront an active shooter, something that is your job as a police officer, step down. Get out. Period. This ain't for you. It is not the job for you. And I can tell you now, I would not do your job. I would not be a police officer at this point in time. There's no way. I know some police officers. The police officers I know would have, from what I've seen of the way they've acted in other situations that they have been in, the police officers I know wouldn't have waited for anybody, and they'd have been going in that door. That's the guys I know. And for the guys that I know that are like that, I appreciate you. I really do. For those of you in command of police officers that are not willing or too afraid to give orders because you're scared your police officers might lose their life, they know that. They know that when they signed up, that there's a chance they may not come home every single night. You send them boys in, guys and girls. I appreciate my female police officers just as much as my male police officers, because there's some of y'all women out there that take it to them. I know a couple of them. If you're not willing to send them in when it needs to be sent in, you need to step down. Seriously. Go flip some burgers at McDonald's. This ain't for you. If you're not willing to give that call when it needs to be given, go get you another job. This ain't for you. We don't need people in power, and we don't need police officers that are scared to do their job. Go find something different. Thank you for your service, but go somewhere else. Alright, so we're going to go into how to prevent the next shooting. Lock your schools down. Lock them down, and I don't mean just locking doors. You need to harden your school. Lock your school down. You need to have armed security personnel trained manning the doors. If you have one entrance to the school, you have an armed personnel at that one entrance. If you have 6 entrances to that school, you have one at all 6 entrances. I know there's schools that are small and only has one, and I know there's some very large schools that has multiple entrances, and I know some schools that have an entrance per grade. So lock them down and get an armed security guy, and I mean armed. I don't mean just a concealed sidearm. I mean he has an open carried sidearm, he has an open carried rifle, and he has a communication device, a walkie-talkie of some type, on him. He looks like a SWAT team member. He's got a bulletproof vest. He's there to protect your children. And for those of you who's like, well, I don't want that around my kids, I don't care. I don't care what you want. That's what's going to protect your kids. Go to the schools of the politicians and see how their schools are. Their schools aren't getting shot up. You want to know why? Because they got armed guards. They got people protecting them. Your kids aren't worth any less than those politicians. My kids' life aren't worth any less than politicians. In fact, we the people govern the politicians is the way it's supposed to be. I'm more important than those politicians. They're just doing what I tell them to do, supposed to be. Unfortunately, the country's went away from that. Um, but you want to protect your kids? Let's get some armed guards out there. And I preferably prefer veterans, actually. I would rather see some veterans. You know, you got your riflemen and some, depending on what service they come out of, whether it's Army, Navy, Marines, Air Force. They're called different things. Basically, foot soldiers that have experience with a rifle, especially. That's who you want. Get those guys. Now, I'm not saying you can't take newbies off the street and train them, because there's a lot of guys on the street that would be willing to do this, that would be really good at it. But if you got a military veteran with the experience, that's some training you don't have to worry about. You need to qualify them, but you can. They're already trained up to that level. So that's the easy end. Also pay them a decent salary. Come on now, let's pay them. Pay them some money. Where I'm at, police officers don't make a whole lot, so you know the $50,000 range would probably be okay. You could pay somebody around where I'm at $50,000 a year to protect your kids, and they would be okay with that, and they would do it gladly. In fact, if I didn't do what I do, I would do it. And maybe if somebody come to me and offered it, I might do it anyway. I'd be like, yeah, okay, you know what? Kids need protecting. Let's do it. And there may be some people out there making more money that might take a step down to that. But pay them some money. Pay them a decent salary. And you ain't got to pay them $100,000 a year in a lower income place, which is where I'm at. It's not high income. But in those higher level income places, you may need to, so they can at least live and not struggle check to check. So pay them okay. I also suggest you have a camera room. And I suggest you have a camera covering every square inch of that property. I mean, every inch of that property can be seen. You need 2 people monitoring the cameras, paying them the same amount of money as these armed guys. All right, you get them on a good pay scale. You can have ranking and all that stuff. That's up to you. They have 2 people monitoring the cameras. Now, you could also have 2 people monitoring the cameras that might not be willing to confront the shooter, but are good at monitoring cameras. You're going to have both of those. I've worked in loss prevention and asset protection most of my life, and we've had some really good camera people that would not confront nobody. And then we've had some of us that would do both. And then we've had some that weren't great at watching cameras that were good at confronting. So you've got people that are good at different areas. So you could have different people watching these cameras. Have 2 of them, so when one goes on break or one has to go to the bathroom, you still got one person there watching the cameras. You've got somebody relieving for breaks. Have them on staff. Have them there. Have communications in that camera room. They're talking back and forth. Hey, I see somebody on this part of the grounds. You might want to go check it out. Then that guy can go check it out. Depending on how many you've got on grounds, they may have to go check it out to see what's going on. But have a camera room. I also suggest in the camera room, have a push button locking system to the entire school, and I mean every single door in that school. If you see somebody walking across the property with a rifle or with a gun or something you're not sure about, looks like a bomb, maybe they got a vest on with bomb strapped to it, you see them walking across the school, you hit that button and it locks all the front doors, it locks every classroom door, alarm goes off, and the alarm that goes off is the one that everybody knows all the doors have just locked. Everything's happening right now, something's going on, they know areas to get in their classroom. There's taped off areas they get so somebody walking by the door can't see them, they've cut the lights out and all that good stuff. But those doors have hard locked. Now, they can get out if they need to, but nobody can get in, all right, without a key. And have some kind of keying mechanism that you may badge in. You swipe your little badge and it unlocks it, and then the person can go in. But have it to where it locks that school down. That's a good step to a lot of stuff. You could even just have, your school resource officer for the most part, and then a camera person. And when they see somebody coming across the property, they hit that button, everything locks down. That person's not getting in, and then that resource officer can take action. He can confront that person and do what needs to be done. I also suggest putting a fence with razor wire securing the entire property. I don't mean right around the school. I mean the whole property. That way the fence is kind of out away from the kids as far as you can get it away from the kids. And I suggest razor wire all the way down the fence. One way in, if you got a parking lot, you got an entrance to the parking lot, have a security guard over there, gating. It'll have, one of those gates that raise up, the car drives in, lowers, he'll be there watching students come in the mornings, watching them leave in the afternoons. And then at the front entrance, you have a drive-through where people drop people off. Same thing there. You have it gated off. During school, it's gated with a guard watching. So if somebody's coming in to visit or whatever, they check them in and out. Unfortunately, you got to treat them like prisons right now. And that's everywhere. If you go look at a lot of our plants and stuff like that, they're protecting their assets. A lot of them, and this is how they're done. They've got their guards watching stuff. They've got them watching all the doors. They've got cameras on everything. That's the way you protect your kids. Harden your schools and protect your children. All right. Lastly, have some of your teachers that are willing to be able to be armed. Willing and able to be armed, or at least have a safe in their room with a firearm in it. Now, you need to vet your teachers. Are they some people that aren't going to be willing and or able to carry a gun? Absolutely. And if they're not, that's fine. If they're not willing, they don't need a gun. If they're not able, they don't need a gun. But if they're willing and able to either carry a gun or have a gun locked in their room, they make some great RFI safes anymore that teacher could just wear like a bracelet or a ring. And she could just wand up, that safe would open, she could grab that gun out, and she could take action. I can guarantee you that if that female teacher that was in there with all those students would have had a gun and would have had it out when that shooter come in, she would have shot him. Guarantee it. Guarantee it. Mother instinct would have kicked in, she'd have shot him. Guaranteed. And there's a lot of you that are saying, well, oh, I could do something like that. Oh, yeah, you could. If somebody comes in at your children, and if you're a teacher, those children in your class are your children. Most teachers I know consider that. You consider them your children. And I guarantee you, if an active shooter comes in with a gun threatening your children, you will shoot him in the face. Period. Are you going to have trauma afterwards? Absolutely. But you're going to be able to live for yourself because you saved those kids. That's what will get you through. And for those of you that are trying to buck whatever, it's like, well, they shouldn't. Shut up. Just shut up. You want to protect your kids, do something that's going to protect it. What you're thinking of is not going to do it. Just shut up. You're ignorant. Shut up. I want to tell you, you're ignorant. That's it. You come at me with a gun, I'm going to shoot you. You come at my kid with a gun, I'm going to shoot you. If I come at you with a gun, what are you going to do? If I come at your kid with a gun, what are you going to do? You're going to get on your knees and beg me? I'm going to shoot you even more. If I'm the criminal, what you're saying, if you're getting down, I've got a wife and I've got kids, he don't care. He's the one that has the problems. He don't care about your problems. He cares about him. He does not care. Protect your own. It's the only thing that's going to work. That's it. There's nothing else going to work. Getting down on your knees and praying for them while they're there, getting down on your knees and begging for your life, none of that's going to work. Knowing that God gave you the ability to protect your kids. Luke 22:36. For one that has no sword, sell his cloak and buy one. Why did he say that? Because he knew there was evil in this world. Get you a gun and protect your people. That's how you're going to stop all this. All right, for my safety team members, the same thing applies to y'all. I do concealed weapon training. I do above concealed weapon training. Concealed weapon's my main training. That's who we bring in the classes. But I do after the concealed weapon class, advanced training, stuff like that, and then I do church safety security team training as well. So for my safety team members or my church security guys, the same things apply to you. You need to know you may get killed in this position. You need to know that this is a position that you may get killed in. If that's not something you can deal with, step down to a different service. If you're not willing to put your life on the line, you don't even need that gun on your side. Period. You don't need it. You can be eyes and ears because there's a lot of people in the church safety team. I'm in South Carolina, so we have to call it safety team, not a security team. You're within the safety team. You can be eyes and ears with a radio, but not armed if you're not willing to confront. And that's okay, because this isn't for everybody. The confrontation is not for everybody. Um, through my years of working asset protection, I've confronted a lot of people, and I've had a lot of people that were supposed to be my backup and my partners back away. They stopped. They saw the size of the guy. I don't know the meanness, what he looked. I don't know, and they stopped. If that is you, you do not need to be in this position. Because one, you're going to get yourself hurt, or you're going to get somebody else hurt. You can do a different position. You can be the camera person. You can be the communication person. You can be stuff like that. You can be eyes and ears. You can be medical. You can be stuff like that. But maybe not the gun or the armed safety team security personnel. Within the safety team, a lot of times we have what we call shooters. That's the guys that's going to actually do the shooting if needs be. So if you're not willing to put your life on the line, step down, do something else, and let them know that you're not willing to do that, but you're willing to do other stuff. Because there's a lot of you out there, and if you're not willing to train to the point of where you can actually do this quickly, accurately, if you're not willing to put the training in to be good enough, you may need to think about taking a different service as well, being eyes and ears, maybe not the arm response. Because I do some training with people, and the people that I train with, most of them are not that great, and I have to put them on a second tier level. I put the decent guys up in the first tier level, and honestly, the decent guys aren't that great. It takes a lot of training. Train. Practice. You can still carriers out there. Practice your drawing. Practice your target acquisition. Practice everything. Practice your shot placement. That's what it's going to be all about. Practice. We took martial arts. Our saying every day we bowed out was, I need more practice. And that's true in everything. All right, so what now? Of course, we pray for the families that lost their loved ones. The kids, the 19 kids, the 2 adults that were shot by the active shooter. We have to pray for them, and most of you probably have been praying for them, and that is awesome. I believe in the power of prayer, and we need to keep praying for them. We need to pray for his family. They're hurting. Whether it was the way he was raised, I believe in the way somebody's raised is the outcome of some things. I do believe we can get around our raising, but I also believe if you're raised in a certain way, if you take one individual and have 2 different houses, we could just, raise him one way, then go raise him another way, rebirth him and re-raise him another way. I believe he would come up a totally different person. So is it the family raising? I don't know, but what we need to do is keep check on our kids and raise them right. But we need to pray for his family. I've seen a lot of people catch flack with the mom. The mom has said, please forgive my boy. Well, you need to. God will judge. Romans 12:9, vengeance is mine, says the Lord. Now that is paraphrasing. There's more in that. But he will judge. We need to forgive. A lot of people say forgive and forget. I do not believe that. We need to forgive and learn from this and any other evil that comes our way so we can harden ourselves, protect ourselves, protect our kids by any means necessary. All right? Forgive. Pray about it. We also need to pray for the police officers that were there that day. Pray for those Border Patrol agents. Pray for our politicians. Be like, look, our school counselors, our school boards, look, we need to harden our schools. Get it in your hearts. Get it in your minds. We need to arm up. We need to fight back. If you notice, there was an uptick in church shootings there for a minute, but then the last few people shot back. That's kind of declined. Now, there will be more, of course, but it's kind of declined right now, and that will happen the same way with this. There was a study. There's been several studies of Walmart. Walmart has dictated crime in areas for a long time. And they done this study, and what they found was if you have a high crime area, you've got a high crime Walmart. If you clean that Walmart up, crime will go down. So if you're arresting people that are doing stuff in Walmart, crime goes down. Basically, they leave the area and go somewhere else and start stealing from another Walmart or other areas. Crime will go down. If you harden your schools, people won't come at your school. There's a lot of schools that have put up signs out front that says our staff, faculty and staff are armed. We will protect our students. One I saw the other day that said something, we will shoot you if you come in with a gun. That works. They're going to look at that school and say, that might not be the best school. They're going to go shoot up this school over here. Harden yourselves. Use what you got to do and harden yourselves. Get rid of this critical race theory bullcrap. Get rid of all these other studies that you're paying all this money for in your school, and pay some armed security people. Arm your teachers that can be. Harden the school. Get the locks. Get everything down. The camera systems. Get all that in and protect your students. When I worked loss prevention and asset protection over the years, we had big camera systems, very nice camera systems. And a lot of the places that I know that I was able to work with did. We're protecting material possessions. This is kids, for crying out loud. Protect your kids. Get what needs to be to protect your kids. All right? Man up and protect your kids. All right, guys. This is Spencer with Defense Training. I just wanted to go over this because I'm seeing a lot of ignorance out there. I'm seeing a lot of emotions in a lot of this, and this is why I waited so long, because this is emotional. You got to get your emotions out of it, and we got to figure out what will actually work. More gun laws, that's not the answer. Taking guns away, that's not the answer. Arming your schools, protecting your kids is the only answer that there is. That's the only way you're going to be able to do it. All this other bull crap's not going to work. It's a piece of paper. It's a piece of paper. It's not going to work. It's like a restraining order. You ladies that have restraining orders against you, you know all that restraining order is a piece of paper. That's it. If he's caught after he's done whatever he's going to do to you, then they higher penalties, but he's already done what he wanted to do to you anyway. The same thing with all these stupid gun laws and these other laws on the books. I'm not saying we don't need laws for punishment, because we do. But as far as most of the gun laws that are out here, they don't do any good. None. You could take all the gun laws off the books and it would be about the same. It would just be about the same. If you harden your schools, you could take the gun laws off the books and it wouldn't matter. Nobody would do anything anyway, because they're going to come up, they're going to get shot. So harden yourself. Again, this is Spencer, Defense Training. Stay safe, stay armed.
Please like, subscribe, and comment on this video below. Thanks.